So today we're going to go over how to make one of these ice cream cones using oil pastel on black paper. First, you're going to draw a triangle for the cone. Then for the ice cream, you want to add drips to make it look more realistic. You'll add these little swirlies and those little bumps, and that makes ice cream also look more realistic. So first you'll take brown and you'll outline it and go over it really lightly on the left side and pretty hard on the right side so that it looks more like oil paint on the right side, and then on the left side it looks more like crayon. And then what you're going to do is you're basically just going to add layers, like tons and tons of layers. So I like to put yellow in the middle and on the left side because the light is going to be shining from the left side. And that's like where your light source is going to be. And then I put white on top of that and then just start blending it and blending it. And I stop once I get a little bit past the center, and then add black, and then you're going to go over the black with more brown, and you're just going to keep blending. It's just layers and layers and layers and layers. So more yellow over that, and then you're just going to keep on blending. And then I'll take some white, and I'm drawing out where the cone is like curved around, and then I'm drawing out the shapes of the cone and trying to figure out how do I want my lines to go. And then so I'm drawing these, and I'm realizing, you know what, these are a little bit too close together, and that one's crooked. And I'm just like not very happy with the way that these lines are going. And then when I started drawing the lines, I realized I did this backwards. Those are diamonds, those are not squares. So then basically the way to erase it is to go over it with the colors that were under it. So I'm going over it with black, going over it with brown, going over it with yellow, and I'll go over it with a little bit of white over there as well. And then that erases it. And then basically you just get to start over. So this is what I'm doing, is erasing and trying to get back to square one so that we can start over. All right, so then now I'm figuring out, okay, I want bigger lines, right? And I'm curving them because the cone is curved around. And then this will create bigger boxes, and it will be easier to draw all of the like highlights and all of the shadows and everything. So then now what I'm doing is going over the white lines with a brown oil pastel and making it look more like the actual like walls of the cone. And then when I'm done going over it with the brown, I'm going to grab the black and I'm going to go in and make little tiny marks. So with the black is going to be on the top and the left, okay? So top and left, top and left. You see what I'm doing? I'm just making them top and left of each of those boxes. And then when you're done with all of the black, then you'll go in and then bottom right will be white. So then now when I grab the white, I notice it's dirty. So I go and I get a paper towel and I just wipe it off, and then that cleans it. So then now bottom right, each of those boxes is going to get a little white highlight for the bottom right. And then that's going to make it a little bit exaggerated for each of the shadows and the highlights. And it will make it look more realistic that way. And like all of the little waffle parts of the cone are indented in. So then I'm going over it with brown in some spots again. And then now I'm just going to take the color that I'm going to make the ice cream, and I chose blue. And so I'm just tracing and then going over it really lightly with the blue oil pastel. And the reason I'm going over it lightly is because there's going to be so many layers, okay? So then now I'm taking white, and as you can see, this is how slow I'm actually working, okay? So it is not a very fast process. I'm like going really slow and being very intentional about where I am putting each of the colors. Okay. So I'm making sure that all of the areas that need to be highlighted are going to have that white mixed in, and I'm going to blend and make sure that you're making it very exaggerated. So on the left side is going to be the white, and then on the right side it's going to be the black. And I'm doing it on the drips as well because we want to make it look more realistic. So you're just going to blend. And do you see how slow I'm going? I'm being very, very intentional. So then I'm also going to add some green in there just to add some more like depth and add some dimension to it, and also more interest, because if it's just blue, it doesn't look super interesting, doesn't look super realistic. So I'm doing the light green right after the white. And then when I'm done in those areas, then I will get the darker green and then add the darker green. So it'll kind of be an ombre effect from white to black with the light green and then the darker green. So then now I'm doing the darker green and making sure that I'm being consistent with that line direction where it's going in that swirly motion. And then I'm going to go over it. Do you see right here? I'm going to go over that edge with black because that is going to be the shadow. So you want to make sure that you are adding all of the shadows as well, because if you only have the highlights, it's not going to look realistic. So I noticed I was doing the wrong line direction at first, and then I fixed it. So continue with that line direction, going side to side, kind of at that angle with the swirlies, and then make sure that you're adding those shadows on the edges of the drips as well. And then I go and I add the shadow to the edge of the cone, and then I am now going to blend. So here I am, blending. I'm just taking all of the colors and that I need in the certain areas, and I'm just making layers and layers and layers. I'm just blend. And so I'm using the blue right now to blend everything and blend all of the white, the light green, the dark green, and the black together. And then I'm going to go add another layer of black, and then add that black to the right side as well, because it's not all highlights. You need to have a little bit of shadows. And I decided, you know what, there should probably be another little line right here for another swirl. And so I'm taking the blue, blending that again. And then now what I'm going to do is get a red, and I'm going to make a little cherry. So on the cherry on top, I just make a circle, and then I made a little stem, cleaned off the white so that I'm not contaminating it, had a little white highlight, add a little black shadow, and then I'm going to start adding little sprinkles. I wanted my sprinkles to be star shapes. So they're all going to be like little stars. And you can do whatever shape sprinkle is school appropriate. And so some people will do hearts, some people will do stars, some people will just do lines, some people will do circles. It's really up to you. And then I'm going to add a little highlight on the stars on the left side, and then on the right side I will add a little bit of a shadow, and take that black, add a little bit of the shadow, and this will make the sprinkles pop more and look more realistic and exaggerated like the cone in the ice cream. And that's it.